What is the worst thing that is legal? Big businesses lobbying politicians in order to get bills passed in their favor. Not the worst thing, but it used to be illegal for commercials on TV to be louder than the actual show, but not any longer suddenly. For-profit prisons. The size of the X button on pop-up ads. Caller ID spoofing. Putting unrelated crap into bills to sneak it into law. I know they're supposed to follow some kind of rules related to germaneness, but they clearly don't, and clearly need actual laws with actual punishments for pulling this crap. Impossibly hard to cancel subscriptions. A parent keeping their kid from the other parent when there's no good reason to, and leveraging the courts to do it. Socks, fit size 6-12, bullet. Child marriage. Scam calls and solicitation calls. I swear they used to be illegal at one point. Multi-level marketing. Hearing a honking sound in a radio commercial. Being penalized for calling out sick from work. Edit. Even while the whole world is trying to survive this pandemic, we're still dealing with this major issue by employers. I work in healthcare, and I feel like I get shamed by my managers and co-workers when you call out, especially when you work night shift. Robocalls. Bothering someone with something they paid for. Data caps on home internet. Congress members being able to trade stocks at the same time they are receiving intelligence and passing laws that could affect the performance of said stocks. Civil asset seizure by police, no crimes needed. Selling textbooks at ridiculous prices. Unskippable double ads. Dog ear cropping and cat declawing. Edit. I'm in the USA and a registered veterinary nurse. It's brutal. Marital abuse and honor killings in countries like the one I live in, generally the Middle East. Most of that stuff is in the process of being banned now, thank God. You know how when you commit a crime and get caught, you get charged in the country where you committed the crime. So if you murder someone, you'll get charged in said country, and then there are the international waters. Every ship above 100 GT have to be registered, and if it's registered, the laws of the country where it's registered apply to the ship. But if you had a smaller boat, no laws apply. But if you killed someone on said ship, you'd be charged in the country where the person is a citizen. But there are ways someone can lose their citizenship in certain countries, and thereby, if I kill a citizenless person on a boat under 100 GT in international waters, even if there was evidence, no one can bring me to court. Thereby, it's legal. Child beauty pageants. The troubled teen industry. Parents pay a company to kidnap kids while they're sleeping and send them off to therapeutic boarding schools where they are abused in every conceivable way. It's ducked. Sweatshop labor outsourced by tech and Fortune 500 companies. It's essentially contemporary slavery we collectively allow. Co-workers that don't shower. The fact car radio commercials are allowed to have police sirens or car crashes in them as a way to get your attention. Being forced to fork up your personal data and access to everything in your phone to use a stupid app that makes a picture of your dog sing. It should not be allowed at all. Edit. This applies to many apps. I didn't have just one in mind. Marriage. Specifically a 14-YO getting married to a 40-YO with the parents constant. That's just wrong. College book prices and practices. Change a few words in a math book. That'll be another $100 please. Oh, you realize that you can use the book from 10 years ago and succeed? Actually, we require you get the new book. Oh, you realized you can get the book cheaper from a friend? Actually, we're doing online books now and you need the personalized code. We change it every year even though there have been no breakthroughs in this subject. Knowing the college struggle, I have no ducking clue how this is allowed to exist. It should literally be illegal. No knock warrants. We've seen time and time again where law enforcement has the wrong address and some innocent person ends up dead because of a logistical mistake. I'm just gonna have to say little girls' beauty pageants. It just doesn't sit right with me. And not only because of the fact it's creepy, but I feel like it's stressful on the kid and on their body image. Political action committees. Our media driving a wedge between the populace to fuel division in order to satisfy ratings, purely for the purpose of entertainment and profit, not facts. Payday loan practices, technically not illegal, but hella predatory. The trade blockade over Naboo. Groom your stepdaughter for over a decade, then when she's 18, divorce her mom and hook up with your stepdaughter. Advertisements for prescription medicine help patients lie to their doctors. Being rude to someone who is just trying to do their job. Spice K2/synthetic weed. This may have changed in the last few years, but I found it embarrassing that our country locks up thousands for actual marijuana but allowed that it to be sold at every gas station and liquor store, knowing damn good and well that it was hurting and killing people. You can look up where anyone lives because it's public record. But can we please not have entire websites with databases full of every person in the country? I mean, think about people who get denied restraining orders and try to move away from their abuser. 6 months later and their abuser can just look up their name and find them all over again. This could be detrimental for spouse abuse victims, stalking victims, etc. Something should be done about them. It's terrifying. In the US, people going bankrupt and losing their homes over medical bills. Conversion therapy. Hey, let's make children hate themselves so much that they'll either lie about who they are for the smallest crumbs of validation or just commit suicide. Either way, that's one less gay to worry about. Now excuse me as I go throw up. We've investigated ourselves and decided we didn't do anything wrong. Wages for full-time jobs that don't even cover basic living costs. Here in Canada, female genital mutilation is common in the Somali community. The police and the government are very aware of it, but because it's cultural, no one wants to stop it. It is still legal in Canada. Paying child support for a child that was conceived during an affair and isn't yours. Old legally blind folks driving cars. In some states you can be handcuffed, in custody and be legally recognized as being able to give consent to a cop who sexually assaults you. You can be literally restrained. A cop can take advantage of you and it not be considered de facto rape. Additionally, there are states where, if you give birth to a child caused by an assault, the perpetrator or his family has the legal right to fight for custody, visitation, etc. Edit. New York is one of many states that has one of those laws. Per comment below. I thought NY had both, but they changed the law in 2018, so only the second one applies to NY state, not both. US employers can do seriously horrible things and treat their employees like it all within the confines of the law. I'm not sure it's the worst thing, but I cannot believe that it's legal to film a person against their consent and then put them on a public forum like YouTube. I just think it's weird that against someone's consent their face and what might be a very personal or embarrassing moment could be shared with potentially billions of people. Even children get subjected to this. Civil asset forfeiture. It is un-American. Legalized theft. Sending letters to homeowners labeled important mortgage financial info or last warning notice and having the inside look exactly like a bill. Letterhead and little box in the corner with figures inside. All to then say refinance with us or don't miss this opportunity for etc. Makes me heart skip every time thinking I've forgotten some critical bill until I open it. As I sit here smoking cigarettes, duck cigarettes, and duck big tobacco. Mobile games that heavily revolve around spending money to make progress. For profit ducking prisons. Lol, what? Posting the same questions on our AskReddit over and over. Underage marriage. If the parents say that it's okay for the girl to be married, they can be. Even worse, once the child is married, the spouse becomes the legal guardian, so they can't divorce them or any other guardian related item until 18, and by then it could be too late. Routine infant circumcision. Edit. I do not think it should be illegal, as some would seek out illegal circumcision, though I do feel it's unnecessary in most situations. Declawing cats, in places where it's allowed. Pardoning a man who killed multiple children and posed for photos with one of their corpses. One of them was a 17-year-old ISIS militant who was in custody and sedated, and the other case was shooting a little girl and an old man. But the witness didn't actually see him pull the trigger. He just heard Gallagher claim to make the shot. As far as I've read, the accuser was only convicted of posing with the body of the 17-year-old captive he allegedly stabbed and whose breathing tube he plugged. Edited for more completeness so as not to sound like I'm sensationalizing. Not exactly legal, but I think the vast majority of the world's population at this point would agree that animal cruelty needs to have much harsher punishments. Most people get off with a slap on the wrist and a small fine. Exploitation of nature. To the level that hurts everyone. Lying through your teeth on news shows because you claim you're actually entertainment, even while it has news in the title of the station. Being able to lie through your teeth on an opinion show just BC, it's an opinion show. Opinions should be opinions about facts. Opinions should not be an excuse for slander or making knowingly false statements in the media. Misleading potential employees in interviewing process. I've been duped once or twice. Puppy mills. Yes. Some states they're still legal, and where they're illegal, irresponsible backyard breeders are legal. Civil forfeiture. It's just legalized theft by cops. A quick look into our Protect and Serve shows how much they love it. It's the one thing that makes me feel utter contempt and loathing for the police. The rich getting away with not paying their fair share in taxes. And paid internships, especially after graduating from college. They need money, not experience. The cost of healthcare in the US. My mom had a large grapefruit-sized bowel obstruction a few years ago and had to have emergency surgery to save her life. She followed that surgery with a 1-week stay in ICU and another 2 weeks in a regular room because the damage was so bad that they had to remove a lot of her colon intestines and place a colostomy bag. Her bill was almost $1 mil when all was said and done, and she didn't have insurance at the time. So that entire burden was on her and my dad. Our healthcare system is ducking atrocious, and frankly, embarrassing. Qualified immunity for police. Not giving your employees emergency sick leave, PTO, etc. because you have less than 15 employees, so by law you don't have to. As an employee you also can't pursue legal action through the Disability Act, Coronavirus Relief Acts, or employment law, because the employer has less than 15 employees. My advice? Don't move to Florida. Prosecutors withholding evidence that can exonerate the accused so they can win a conviction. Child genital mutilation. It's an absolutely disgusting thing to do to children, and in most countries it's still legal or in some places and religions encouraged. Little legal loopholes lawyers can use in courts. This is coming from an incoming law student who works at a law firm. The combined 1% paying less taxes than the combined 99% despite having 50% of the wealth. I hate copyright. Yes, they should get like 30-40 years before it enters the public domain. But 100 plus is just effing stupid. Cyberbullying in childhood. Bullies not mature enough to understand the consequences. Victims not mature enough to ignore them. Mother ducking phone calls from telemarketers and salesmen. I get they are just trying to do a living. But if I block your phone once, don't call me on a new number. Arg. No knock warrants. We've seen time and time again where law enforcement has the wrong address and some innocent person ends up dead because of a logistical mistake. Factory farming. Lawsuits over every little thing. They've ruined people's sense of personal responsibility. Circumcision on either gender. Passing a shitload of bills wrapped up in one. A president with mental issues. Cops are allowed to lie in interrogations. Lots of false confessions made by people that are told their DNA is all over the crime scene, etc. Conversion camps in some countries. Pornography. Unpopular opinion, I know. Rape offenders being able to have custody over a kid. The treatment of animals in factory farming is beyond horrifying. It's hell on earth. The animals we eat live in squalor and die in agonized terror. www.watchdominion.com really opened my eyes to the torture we subject animals to. In certain states, police can have sex with you while you're in custody. Mentally torturing someone to the point where they think suicide is the only option, then telling them that just talking with someone will help, when all it does is make them feel worse. Civil forfeiture, wherein law enforcement can take your property because they think maybe it was or will be used in a crime and you have to prove it wasn't. No term limits for certain politicians. Civil forfeiture is, in my opinion, the most stupid ducking thing I've ever seen in my life. The fact that most of us know that police are corrupt pieces of it, and still give them the ability to seize our property for no real reason, with no real recourse, is beyond me. This country is ducked. The recommended daily amount of sugar that is given by the FDA, it's far too much. Sugar is the root cause of exacerbates a lot metabolic disorders. The animal agriculture, animal abuse. Civil asset forfeiture. In the US, the cops can take anything that they suspect of being used in a crime. Say a cop pulls you over, and you have $500 cash from a swing set you just sold on Craigslist. They can, and very often do, say that such a large amount is obviously drug money and they'll take it. Recovering it is almost impossible. It's overt theft, and dispute mounting public pressure. Police departments are still getting away with it. Here is an article by ProPublica on it. The first link is a video about it. Women can't hit men, but men can't even in self-defense. Having a man forced to support a child that is not biological his. Unregulated corporate lobbying.